Here are 4 things you need to know about milling wheat berries. So we're going to take a minute to talk about each of these items. The wheat berry itself, which is what we use to make whole grain flour, and how that whole grain flour compares both good and bad to all-purpose flour and freshly milled flour. Let's take a look at these 3 things closely. First, we have the wheat berry. It's not actually a berry, but rather a grain, and it's what we use to mill whole grain flour. And then we have all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour only uses a portion of that wheat berry, and it happens to use the portion that doesn't have many nutrients at all. Lastly, we have whole grain flour. Whole grain flour uses the entire wheat berry in the process of making it. And because whole grain flour is freshly milled and it's using the entire wheat berry, it requires different things. Let's dig a little deeper. This wheat berry has 3 parts: the endosperm, the germ, and the bran. When all-purpose flour is made, only the inner part, the endosperm, is used, whereas whole grain flour uses the endosperm and the bran and the germ. So it's loaded with nutrients and fiber. The first thing you need to know is that you need to adjust your expectations. Products made with whole grain will have a different flavor and a different texture. And if you're the one making these products, here's a few more things you need to know. You will likely have to adjust the liquid ratio or the hydration in your recipe. Some whole grains require more, some require less. You'll also likely have to knead your freshly milled floured products longer, and most have less gluten. And while you have to knead longer, you'll probably have to proof less. That's not to say that all-purpose flour doesn't have its place in your kitchen. Most people, myself included, have come to enjoy the texture of things that are made with all-purpose flour. It makes things more light and airy and less dense than whole grain products. And so, especially if you're new to the flour milling game, I encourage you to use a combination of both in your baked goods. Use whole grain flour for its fiber and its nutrients, and blend with all-purpose flour for its familiarity and its lightness. I hope these tips help you on your flour journey.